So to get a nice flat finish, we're going to need to grain fill it and then prime. So grain filling is really the process of filling in the pores of the timber. What I prefer to use is a dedicated grain filler. Now the one I'm using in this instance is just a natural grain filler from Timbermate. It should be mixed to a fairly runny consistency, more like a glue, I guess. I've mixed that with about 20% or 20% water. You can tint grain filler as well if you like. Many people do that to accentuate the grain. So if I had a nice, like a nice spalted maple or something like that, I might want to rub some dark stain in with the grain fill and then get that right into the pores. And then when I sand it back, the grain will be accentuated. So we've left our TE kit to dry overnight. It had 2 coats of grain fill yesterday. And now I'm just coming back and removing all the excess, so just sanding it down. So what I'd recommend using is a higher grit paper, like a 400 or a 600 grit paper should suffice. And what you're really trying to do is just sand flush with the surface of the timber. So when you're sanding, you're not trying to remove any timber at all. We're just trying to get it flush with the surface, and that will mean that the pores that we filled yesterday remain filled. So I'll just start sanding, and I'll sand a section and we'll bring the camera down. Just have a look at what I'm talking about there. As you can see in this corner here, you can probably see that we've removed most of the excess, but the pore marks, the tiny pore marks, are still filled, which is basically what we're trying to do. So if you did sand too far, or if those pore marks weren't filled enough, you may need to consider a 3rd coat, and I'd probably make that 3rd coat a little runnier, so add a little bit more water next time. Okay, so that's the guitar all prepped and ready for priming. So got the masking in place. Good thing about a TE style kit, there's less cavities to mask up, but that's pretty much the job. We've grain filled, we've sanded back the grain fill, we've masked up the cavities, cleaned the timber, so now it's time to prime.